Hey y'all, I'm Tammy, and this is Collard Valley Cooks, and today we're making a chocolate banana pudding, and boy is it good. Let's get started. All right, we're going to start out making our chocolate pudding. This is going to be so good. I'm super excited to try it. One of my daddy's favorite things, and I love it too, is to have Oreo cookies and a banana together for a snack. So I'm making a chocolate banana pudding. And we are going to be using my granny's chocolate pudding recipe. And this is not going to be a large batch. It's just going to be a single batch. And we're just going to start out making the pudding. And you want to start with your dry ingredients. Okay, you want to whisk them all together. We're going to start out with 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And the cocoa in this. Chris does not want it to be a dark chocolate. My granny's recipe calls for 2 heaping tablespoons of cocoa. So instead of 2 heaping tablespoons, we're just going to use regular tablespoons of cocoa for our banana chocolate pudding. When you make the chocolate pie with this recipe, you want to make sure it's a heaping tablespoon, all right, so that it's a darker chocolate. But we want a lighter chocolate with our bananas. All right, we're going to add a dash of salt to this. You're going to put all your dry ingredients in first for your pudding so that you can whisk them all together. So there's your cornstarch. The only thing we got left is our sugar. So we're going to use 3/4 cups of sugar. A regular banana pudding would have a 1/2 cup of sugar, but because we are adding cocoa, you need a little extra sugar. We're going to use a 1/2 and then a 1/4, which is 3/4 cups of sugar. I also use cornstarch because cornstarch makes a pudding clear looking instead of cloudy. If you don't have cornstarch, you can always use flour. Just remember that you have to use about a 1/3 cup of flour to the 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Now all we have to do is add our liquids. You're going to add a cup of water, a cup of evaporated milk. Now this is Eagle brand. It is not sweetened condensed milk. It is evaporated milk. There's quite a difference. The butter goes in last, as well as the vanilla, so you can set those to the side. And then we're going to add 2 whole eggs because today we're going to top this with whipping cream instead of meringue. Two eggs. My chickens laid a couple of extra eggs. They were laying about 5 or 6 a day, and then it got so hot outside that we were lucky to get 1 or 2 a day. And yesterday I went out there and they had 4 or 5, but it's because it's been overcast. It's been hot, but it's been overcast. So I guess they felt like laying more eggs. It's crazy how the heat affects whether or not they're going to lay, which I don't blame them, man. If I was out in that heat, I wouldn't want to do nothing either. Now's when you look at your recipe, make sure you got everything in here that you're supposed to and that you haven't missed anything before you put it in the microwave. Now, if you want to do this the old-fashioned way, you could cook it on the stovetop. I would recommend you use something nonstick and stir it constantly so that I don't have to do that. It's still the same ingredients. It's still the same flavor. I used my microwave just like my mama did. Now, my granny used the stovetop. But let me tell you, in the summertime, it's crazy to use a stovetop when God gave us a microwave. All right, we're going to throw this in there. So we're going to get it in the microwave and cook this for 3 minutes. Now, when you make a banana pudding, you make a thinner pudding. If you make it thick, like you would for a pie, and it all counts on how much you microwave it, how much you cook it, how thick it is. And it's not going to thicken when it gets in the refrigerator, not homemade pudding like people think, okay? So, for a banana pudding of any kind, you want your pudding kind of thin, because if it's not, it gets absorbed in those cookies and it will dry out your pudding and it just won't taste as good. So you don't cook your pudding thick for banana pudding, okay? If you're making it for a pie, you cook it until it's thick as it can be so that it's going to set up right. And everybody's microwave is different. Everybody has different wattages, just like an oven. You have to be the eyes for your pudding. Is it at the right consistency? You can't just go by the times that I have on the recipes. In order to do that, just watch the videos and look at my pudding and see what kind of consistency it is and cook yours until it looks like that, okay? So I can't emphasize that anymore. It's really important for you to do that. Now, after 3 minutes, it's real important to get it out and whisk it to make sure the flour, whether you're using flour as a thickener or cornstarch, you're going to make sure and get all of that off the bottom of that bowl because you don't want lumpy pudding. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. All right, you're going to see it's still plenty runny because it's barely had time to get the liquid warm. But once this liquid starts to get hot, it's going to be just like gravy in a skillet. It's going to get thick. So you're just going to make sure all of that hadn't settled to the bottom. Make sure you do a really good job whisking. Make sure you scrape around the bottom and the edges of the bowl and get it back in there. We're going to put it on 2 minutes this time. Now my microwave is 1100 watts, if you're wondering. Now it is possible that this is not going to be quite thick enough, but I wanted to get it out sooner rather than later because you don't want it so thick that it's going to make a dry banana pudding. One thing too you can also do is if you do get it too thick, you can add a little milk to it and it'll be fine. And I'm probably going to have to do that, but first we're going to add the butter and the vanilla. So we're going to add vanilla and butter. And this is a light milk chocolate. So if you want a darker chocolate, of course, just use those heaping tablespoons of cocoa. See, that butter will melt in there and make it thinner as well. We'll just wait until this butter melts and see if we want to add any milk to it. Yeah, I think I'm going to add just a little bit of milk to it. You can use your evaporated milk or regular milk or water, whatever you want to use is fine. Just add a little liquid to it to thin it up so that your banana pudding will not be dry. Boy, that's perfect. Let me show you about what the consistency should be like. It should be almost pourable. See how that looks? Now, if you were making a pie out of this, and this is the same recipe we make our granny chocolate pie with, you would use more cocoa, and you would cook it until it's nice and thick. Let me taste it. Delicious. The pie has a little bit more sugar, but this is plenty sweet. I just tasted it, and it's plenty sweet. All right, you're going to start out with your pudding with a little on the bottom. I love graham crackers with pudding, chocolate pudding, just to dip them in there. And vanilla wafers are delicious as well. Go ahead and get me a little bite. Oh, really good. So if you ever freeze bananas and dip them in chocolate, this is going to be the recipe for you. We love peanut butter and bananas. Bananas are good with a lot of stuff. And I like to slice my bananas thin. I'm going to use 2 large bananas in this recipe. Now, if you want more bananas, then by all means, put more bananas in it. I only make 1 layer when I'm making a small recipe like this. If I were doubling this recipe, then I'd make 2 layers. But I think 1 layer is plenty when you're making chocolate pudding or banana pudding. Just make you a nice big thick layer of cookies and a thick layer of bananas and top it, and it's going to be good, good, good. Looks good. All right. So now we're going to let me wipe my hands off. Got banana on them. Now we're going to take our cookies, and then we're going to top it with our chocolate pudding. And I'm going to go out there and put it in the refrigerator and let it cool down, and then we're going to whip up some whipping cream. Normally I would put a meringue on banana pudding, but because I am making a chocolate banana pudding, I wanted to use whipping cream today. I thought that sounded good. Now this container is an antique and you can't get it anymore. They sold these, they're casserole dishes and they're beautiful and they're embossed with fruit. They sold them in blue and green, and they sold them back years ago, I believe at Dollar General at the time is where I got my original ones. But you can sometimes find them on those replacement, I think it's called like Replacements, etc., and different websites like that that sell older vintage dishes that they don't make anymore. So we're just going to put the chocolate on top of it. We will decorate the top with the whipping cream, but we got to get this pudding cool before we put whipping cream on it, or it would just melt. So this is one pudding. You got to chill. Now, if you were making meringue, you would want to put the meringue on there while it's popping hot because it would help cook the egg whites, okay? But because this is going to have a whipping cream, we're going to go out here and slide this in the refrigerator or the freezer, however you want to do it, and then we'll top it. We'll see you in a little bit. Why are you eating my pudding?
I'm not eating the pudding.
Yes, you are. It's all over your face.
I'm not eating.
Chris is in trouble. All right, we're going to mix us up some whipping cream. Now you can sweeten this if you want to. We'll put a little bit of sweetener in it. And I have chilled my bowl so it's nice and cold. And I think I'll use 2 cups. We'll make a lot of whipping cream. Now you want to make sure you don't overbeat it or it'll turn to butter. So we got a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla. We'll go ahead and add that vanilla to it. Let me get me a spoon or a measuring cup. I'll put a 1/4 cup in it. It don't need much, just enough to barely make it sweet. And we'll add it as we mix it. All right. Well, we'll just not do it real fast to start with. Just stop it every once in a while and see if it'll form a stiff peak. It's just a little bit runny around the edges, so we'll make sure and beat that in and get it done. But it needs to make a peak. All right. It's almost there. It's real close. All right. Let's get it on here, y'all. We did chill our bowl. That helps it beat up a little quicker, but it takes a minute to get whipping cream to beat up. Surely does. I'm going to use a little spatula so it'll be pretty to spread it. We're going to put a few cookies on it. Yummy. And if you want to do like my original banana pudding, I'd put them all the way around the edges just to make it pretty. So we'll do that. I think this is going to be really good. I really don't know why I've never made one. It's just some people don't make much. They always make regular banana pudding. All right, then you're just going to take a couple of these and crush them and sprinkle it on the top. And there you have it, a chocolate banana pudding. It's going to be good. I'm ready to dig in, y'all. Bet you are too. Wish you were here to get a bite. Yummy. Chocolate banana pudding. Chris is going to have to help me eat this. This is a big old banana pudding dipper. I'm curious to see how it tastes. All right, so it's time for me to taste it for y'all. I've already tasted it, and it's super good. It's quite different, and I really like the extra bananas on the top. So if you make this, make sure you slice the bananas for the top right before you serve it because you don't want them to turn. That is really good. All right, so first time I've ever tried this, just was a bright idea I had off the top of my head today because I had plenty of bananas and I wanted to make something different. And I really think it's good. I think you're going to enjoy it. I hope you give it a try. Let us know in the comments if you like it, if you do. All right, we'll see you next time on Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like Mama did. Bye, y'all. Love ya.